But you're right, man. I am happy I'm doing this content now. It's like
That's what it's about.
it is. It is. It's a family atmosphere too. I love it. I love it. I love it, man. If it wasn't, I don't know how much I would even want to do this stuff.
Yeah, you just be like a robot talking sports.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel real. Like, what we got is real, and I have a blast doing it, man. I do. Shout out to the people though that tune in and support the platform, because that's number one.
Yep.
The people.
Yeah, I mean, because it's really the extension of the family.
Yeah.
We see all of the different comments. We see the love. We see when you disagree.
The love at LCA too. Like you see people down at LCA appreciating it. Like that's
been huge.
That's
man.
everything. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's been so huge, man. Just to talk about those experiences real quick before we get into the basketball of it all, man. It's shout out to everybody that walks up and says, "Hey, we respect what you're doing with sports, with Woodward Pistons." I was interviewing somebody on the concourse, bro. Jeff was just off to the side, and this guy just could not keep his eyes off Jeff. Like it's awesome the type of love and appreciation that people are showing for what we're trying to do, and I couldn't be more appreciative for it. I'm just a guy that's trying to put on for Pistons culture, Detroit culture, and really, really make sure that our teams are represented from the championship history all the way to the rebuilding that's going on right now, man.
And just to clarify, the way you said that was kind of suspect. He was staring at me, but it wasn't a lot. It was less weird than you probably initially thought. But no, it was awesome, man. He was a nice guy.
Fan. He was truly humbled to meet Mr. Everything.
No, don't say it like that.
He was, bro. I swear, it was like that scene in Coming to America.
Oh my!
It's like, who is that?
Even, bro.
Just the guy I met in the bathroom.
Hey, I love meeting people, man. I love meeting new people. So again, if you see me and you're like, is that buffoon who does the Woodward Pistons in the morning Woodward show? Come up to me. Like, I don't care, man. Support. Yeah, I love it. I love having conversations with people, dude.
Man, I had people.
It's the best thing.
I was out there. People was like, Kool-Aid. I'm just like, what? This is pretty cool, man. And the awesome thing is that they're ready to talk about the city. They're ready to talk about Detroit. They're ready to talk about the hope of it all. And that's what I'm hoping it's all about, man. What we're trying to do, what we're trying to build, and what we have going forward. I continue to tell Joey, DJ Joey, shout out to him, that I think we got enough support for this Imagine Theaters. I think we do, to do our kind of get together with our fans, with our followers, to do the watch party. I'm trying to decide if it's going to be a watch party, like a road game watch party, or if we should do it during the draft lottery. I don't know quite yet, but you know what? I feel comfortable enough, man. I told them, yeah, we got it. We can do it. And so look, y'all put in the comments, put in the live chat, put everywhere. If you're coming, if this is something that you would do, watch party, come on, have some fun. Jeff, you remember the last one we did at Imagine Theater, right?
Oh yeah, it was packed. It was a lot of fun too. I mean, that was when we drafted Cade, so the excitement was. I mean, you kind of knew, but you didn't really know. No. So it was awesome to see it. I mean, everybody all in one environment, all collectively just as excited. That stuff, it's cool watching. We do shows. We did a show last year on the lottery, and it's exciting because you have people tuning in, people chiming in, which we might even do another show. But when you're in that in-person, like remote show, you're in front of the people, you're getting to connect with them in live, real time. Like that's like the best experience for someone like me and you who do this, just me and you right now talking, but we do it with the people. It's even better.
It really awesome. It was such an awesome experience, man. I look forward to it, and I want to be able to create more of those. So obviously this season, we'll probably have one or two of these, but going forward, we will have more. But before we talk about Marvin Bagley, bro, tell the people real quick, yo, look, surgery, I've been healed up. They said 4 to 6 months. I'm on like month, 4 now? 5. I've been lifting weights. I've been ready to hoop. And we got a pretty cool opportunity to kind of get together again back on the court, and I'm kind of looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too, man. Yeah, me and for people that don't know, me and Kool-Aid and Mike Gentry from the Jeff and Gentry show, we all played together. We went to an LA Fitness. We just went and played hoops because honestly, it was one of those days where we're like, "Yo, let's go out, let's go to the people, and let's see what's going on." And that was one of, and we took some we filmed some content doing it. Like that stuff, again, it goes back to what I said earlier. When you're out in the public with people doing content, especially basketball, where it's already competitive, but it's also fun in games, and it's entertaining. I love it. Like I can't wait. We're going to LCA to do that event. People from Woodward Sports are doing it. It's a collective thing. We got invited out for a charity. It's nice, man. I can't wait. But it's all about the charity, but come on, you can't admit that me and you, we're gonna get some buckets.
A couple buckets, man. A couple buckets. I'm about to start working out. I'm really about to start working out because hopefully this could be the precursor to us getting into the leagues that we were hoping to start.
Yeah.
Sadly, Stick got injured. I got injured. He got Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? It happens, man. It happens. But I look forward to it. And you're right. To know that we got opportunity to play on the LCA floor, to play in the middle of Detroit, and that is for charity.
It's like full circle.
Yep. Shout out Neil Rule too, man.
Yeah.
That's dope. That's dope. I can't wait. You guys will definitely hear more about it as we go on. But Jeff, Rod and I, man, we talked about Killian Hayes this morning.
You did.
We did. We talked a little bit about Isaiah Stewart, and it's honestly along some of the same lines as what I'm sure you're going to talk about with Marvin Bagley, man. So kick us off with Marvin Bagley.
So the problem I see with Marvin, and this is why you never can fall in love with the players in a rebuild. Like, you just can't. Besides your number 1 overall pick, obviously, because he ain't going nowhere. But besides that, you can't really fall in love with these players. Even guys like Marvin Bagley, when he first got here and was acquired at the trade deadline, remember, we were all covering it still at the time, and we're like, you know what? There's your first lob threat for Cade. It's exciting, and you saw the chemistry right away and his impact right away. But that was at that time. Here comes Duren. Here comes Wiseman. And that's what I love about Troy is he's never going to settle. He didn't look at Wiseman and say, well, we already have bigs. I don't want Wiseman. No, he said, we'll take Wiseman. We feel like, his ceiling is much, much higher. And at the same time, if you have Bagley, Wiseman, and Duren, it's kind of like the Scoot Henderson argument. You take them, and who's ever the worst, you get rid of them. That's kind of what's been the game that Troy's been playing. Like, hey, let's get Wiseman, and you're seeing it work out. He's averaging like 13 and 9 in a Pistons uniform, and he's playing really well, except for last night. He struggled a little bit, but still, for the most part, he's been playing really well. And Bagley, not only has he's been inconsistent, but we also know what he lacks already. Like, he can't really space the floor. He's not a great defender. There's things that Marvin Bagley, you always say, and we say this about a lot of players, if he gets these things, man, if he can just get these things, Marvin Bagley, I think we can comfortably say, I don't think he's getting those things. Like, being better defensively. Like, if you check the net rating defensively for Bagley with Duren and Bagley with Wiseman, they can't play with each other. Like, now, Wiseman and Duren, it's a different conversation, but Bagley with any other big, the only guy or the only big you 100% can say can play with other bigs is Isaiah Stewart. Besides him, it's essentially a project. I would be more comfortable with Wiseman and Duren knowing what they can do defensively.
That's what I want, bro.
And knowing what Wiseman can do with the ball. Like, we've seen, he has more traits.
Yep.
Yes. And you got to think too, Bagley is, as much as he's been in the league and he's been injured, he hasn't been the most available. He's had opportunities. He has. Wiseman, you can't really say that. Even in Sacramento, Bagley got an opportunity.
Didn't have opportunities.
That was
with Wiseman.
Yes, with Wiseman, he never had opportunities in Golden State. He couldn't fit in the rotation. He played in the G League.
People are regretting getting rid of him, where Sacramento was just like, okay,
here you go. Like, here you go.
He's better than Sacramento. He proved he's better than what his Sacramento time was. But
what does that mean?
Exactly. When with the way that Troy operates, look, if this was a previous regime, it would have meant this is our starting center for the next 10 years.
Absolutely.
But Troy is not resting on his laurels, like you've alluded to, man. Like, we've alluded to it with the guards. And I think in the beginning of the year, we said, is anyone going to be surprised if he went and started stacking up the center position as we're going into a big free agency? And here you go. Stack full of guards, stack full of centers. The clear hole is the wing, which I'm wondering if he has his eye on some free agent or some acquisition, or if he's looking at, your guy, Brandon Miller, to be able to come in and really, really feel that wing position. But I think he's done a masterful job at not waiting around, not resting on his laurels, telling guys, listen, I have control of this team no matter who I draft. You guys got to work as a team.
Yeah.
And that honestly gets you the best. And as it relates to Bags, man, like, this is what you want. Bagley proved he was worth his contract. We wish he could be a little bit more healthy. We wish he could get a little bit more on a defensive
But
end.
even that contract, that's a movable contract.
Exactly.
3 for 33.
Get to it, bro.
I
want to go
3 for 33. You can move. So, again, can Bagley carve out a role somewhere in the NBA? Absolutely. He's an NBA player. But with the Pistons, with now 2 bigs, like, you have Wiseman and Duren. I like them both. I don't want them to go anywhere. Where does Bagley fit into all of this? That's the big question. And even when you look at other teams, and me and Sean talked about this on From Half Court, which you can go check out at From Half Court. Yeah.
Sean Murphy.
We talked about the the ideology of multiple bigs, like the Cleveland Cavaliers did it. The difference is, and this is why I brought up earlier with Bagley and what he lacks, Mobley and Bagley, let me say this again, Mobley and Bagley do not have similar skill sets. Mobley is much more talented and is much more versatile. He can handle the ball. I've seen Mobley run pick and rolls. Imagine Marvin Bagley running a pick and roll.
I have more faith in like Wiseman.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And that's why the point I'm trying to make is, where does Bagley fit into all of this? And that's really a big question that Troy's going to have to figure out this offseason. Yeah. Because where does he fit into your rotation next year? If we're talking draft, let's say, and hypothetically, I'm just saying this. Dare I say you get Victor, because then that's another situation, but which would be great. But what if you get Brandon? Let's say you get Brandon Miller. You go into free agency, you sign a Cam Johnson, okay? Where does Bagley fit in all this?
That's the thing. So really,
that's the question.
He is this summer's Jeremy Grant. Not a bad player. Nowhere where we're saying, yo, he's crap. He's not living up to his contract. He actually lived up to the deal. He proved he was better than Sacramento.
Yeah.
It's just as it relates to the way the maniacal Troy Weaver goes, he's found himself now kind of on the outside of the rotation because Troy can't wait. And this is why I love him kicking the tires on players, because Marvin Bagley wound up becoming a foundation, and everyone else who came in had to be better than him. And I like that. Now everyone else who comes in has to find a way to be better than Wiseman has shown and better than Duren has shown. And hopefully these guys continue to show what they've proven already. But I love the position they're in. We've talked about it all summer that Marvin Bagley and any of these guys, not named really Ivy, Duren, and Cade, he's made them very valuable, or to some degree to our restoration, valuable assets, man. And that's all you wanted going into this summer. He's even turned Wiseman and RJ Hampton into valuable potential trade assets. Think about the deals they've put together with Josh Jackson and the now gangster Trey Lyles, man. Shout out to him, man. Goodness gracious. You saw him going crazy on
him and Brooke, yeah.
And I'm like, wow, okay, Trey. That's what you got in you. I don't know if that's what that is in his chest. They usually say dog, but he just kind of snapped, bro. But if Troy Weaver's finding ways to get returns like Marvin Bagley with those guys, what is he, what happens with the types of assets he has now, like a Marvin Bagley? Mm-hmm. Rod and I talked about Killian Hayes this morning in terms of what we think it would take to get him back, what we think is a fair value for him based on the comps and what we see other people from those draft classes around him getting as well. And we placed him out. Well, I'll ask you first, unless you want me to just kind of tell you where we put it. What would you pay for Killian in terms of what we thought his role being a backup point guard?
What would I pay?
Yeah, annually, like the yearly.
I mean,
Tom Mazaway. Shout out to the legend.
I'd have to look up what some of the backup point guards are making and compare it, because Killian, it's hard. Because if you're asking me how much would I pay him, what are you paying for? I'm paying for somebody that can come off my bench, be a good defender, perimeter defender, be a good passer, be a good playmaker, and struggle shooting the ball. Ooh. And be inconsistent shooting the ball and scoring at an NBA level. He did it last night, played well, but still, what Killian am I getting from night to night? You could get last night, you could get that in like a 10-game stretch.
Shooting 18% from three over the last, 10 to 20 games.
So to answer your question, I would like to know what other teams would pay for Killian, because I think it'd be bare minimum. So that would be my answer. Is I'm throwing a contract at him, like a 10-year, like tender. Here you go. Here's what the minimum I can give you. Maybe you give him a little raise, but still, I'm not paying Killian anything significant. There's no reason to. I don't think you should just dump him for nothing, because I do believe Killian is. This is tough for me to say, but because at the same time, it's like you've had 3 years of a sample size. No, but I feel like he's taking steps. There's times where he looks better, and then there's stretches where he doesn't. So like I don't really know what to believe. It's really like, Troy, do you trust you're going to get more of a consistent Killian on a night-to-night basis, or can you replace him in free agency? Get a backup point guard and he just fill that role.
That's that, and bingo, bro. Like, it's the consistency, it's the mental makeup of, can you go out there and do it night by night?
Right.
We can't even look other than the shooting and how he gets to the rack. Those are his two biggest weaknesses that we're like, you got to work on that and fix that. But those aren't the things that we absolutely need from him. If the man would just be a defensive leader, which we know he has a skill set to be, and be a playmaking wizard, bro, how do you know how much that brings to the table? Ricky Rubio stuck around this league and contributed to good teams doing that and made a difference. And people knew you gotta account for Ricky Rubio, whether he's a backup or whether he's spot starting or whatever. And so it's like with Killian, I do want to see him grasp that more, because the reason why he doesn't look like that more is just for whatever's going on up top. We've heard Casey talk about it in the past, and you're right, man. I think that you're not knowing the numbers, and that's why I was like, maybe I should just tell him first. But I wanted to just hear your ideology on it, and it's very similar to Rod and I. It's just like, we're not going to the high end. People in his class, they were getting somewhere between 8 and 12, about 7.5 and 12 million. His next year is supposed to pay him 7.4. If the Pistons just let his option go and they don't choose to renegotiate or trade him. I told Rod, the high end is 10 to 12. I would probably give him somewhere between the 8 to 10, and that's if I liked him. Like if I'm Troy and I'm like, you know what? You can settle into this role. Like Rod said, Troy's been signing people to 2-year deals to get them into these windows, 2 and 3-year deals. And that's kind of where I placed him. There were people, Taylor Horton is getting about, what was it? North of 10, about 11 million a year. And there was another player, and I forget his name.
He's better.
And there was another
player. What about Gary Payton II?
He hasn't gotten his deal yet.
That's who I thought of when you thought of backup point. Like what Gary Payton does, he got paid strictly on his role, which is being a great defender, making the right play, doesn't force things. Like that's why Golden State loves him.
Yeah.
So for Killian, if you want to carve out a role like that, Gary Payton got paid off being a great defender. So if Killian wants to get paid, compare what Gary Payton's getting paid. Because
let me see if he got his contract yet. Did he get his contract yet? His second one?
I know he got paid to join Portland, then he got traded to the Warriors. I don't know what he got with Portland, but I think it was like 2 for something.
I think that deal needs to. Oh, okay. He's at 3 years, 27, and that's
about 8 a year.
That's what I told. I was like 3 years, 27 this morning. I was like, that's kind of where that's where I would go.
Okay, so it's like 9 a year. So 9 a year for GP the second. I think he's better than Killian. So
it might be 3 for 24 then for Killian. 324, 3 for 25.
Something like that. Yeah, because Gary Payton's proven he could play that role on a championship team. So he at least has that ahead of Killian. Killian, I wouldn't pay. You said 10. I think that's too much.
No, I'm not doing 10. I was like 8. I was like 8 to 10. Depending on
I would say like max 9. Max. Like I'm even like when you say 9, like
9 a year. You got to know he's going to take a marginal leap forward, at least with shooting or aggressiveness or consistency. So if his shot is still kind of in,
because
if he's going to go through trends, at least be a consistent playmaker and defender.
It's hard to pay a guy on projections when you have 3 years of him and there's not much projection. Like, how am I going to pay you on projection if there hasn't been any consistent growth over 3 years? I'm paying you for what you are. You're a 6.6 assists per game guy. You're 6 and 6 with probably a steal on low 30s percentages from the field and from 3. I'm paying you based on that. I'm not paying you based on, you've seen Killian in a stretch of games play really well. I don't care. What is your average? Who are you as a player? I look at that through the entire season. Looking at Killian, it's not the best resume. So I'm paying you based on what you've shown me over 3 years, and it's not great.
Now, playmaking wise,
like at least Sadiq Bey, I'm sorry, I just want to say this. At least Sadiq Bey, I never was going to pay him what he was asking for, but at least you can think about it because you think, well, can Sadiq take that step? We've seen him get 50. We've seen him average 15 a game. We've seen him play significant roles. Now, talk about the fit and all that. That's another conversation. But just off the player, I don't blame him for asking for that. Now, he needs to be a better defender. Like there's things Sadiq needs to do, but for Killian to even ask for more than 9, I'd be what? Get lost. I'll go sign DeLon Wright. I'll get DeLon Wright back. Like you watch DeLon Wright, he's not bad.
I mean, what? Who did Killian train with? Will Bynum? Will Bynum, you got anything left in the tank?
Like,
bro?
Yeah, and it's not even like to.
I feel you.
To come at Killian, it's just being real.
It's like being real. Because if we didn't hear the coaches and the team and Killian himself talk these same things, it's not like anyone is going on this show to try and bash Killian at all, and it's not like anyone's going on this show to try and prop Killian up. It's trying to find this middle ground. And right now we've seen that a lot of guys, when Rod and I went through it, bro, a lot of guys from those years are not getting their options picked up. A lot of people are being left kind of in the wings just to see, including who? James Wiseman, Sadiq Bey. These guys are in a position where now teams are like, you know what? Let's start trading these guys. Let's start moving off of these guys. Maybe the opportunity, maybe the fit, or in the Warriors opportunity, in the Warriors situation, it was money and opportunity that they couldn't afford to give James Wiseman, because they were trying to also get underneath the luxury tax. So they didn't have to pay something insane.
Yep.
Just trying to go after a championship. But it's I ultimately, with Killian Hayes, I like him as a backup. He is tied for 19th in the league right now, and this is 6.1 per game, which I was surprised. Honestly, when I looked up his numbers, I was like, okay, 10.1 or 10.6, or he's just under 10 points a game, like 9.6 points per game, 6.1 assists, 2.8 rebounds. I want those rebounds up, but he's shown a lack of true physicality in the paint despite his frame. And that is a little disappointing. But his numbers, the total assist numbers, he's tied for 16th in the league. So he's showing this proficiency, as Casey said, as being the most, probably, he didn't say most, he said one of the best playmakers on the squad. And I think he has opportunity to be the best passer on the team. So he just hits guys right in the pocket, things that we were talking about kind of last year. Guys hit a higher clip of their shots and their threes off Killian Hayes passes. And that matters. But if he can't do that consistently, man, and you can find somebody that can give you kind of something similarly, like you stated, but more consistently, what do?
Yeah, you look at scoring output. Like, that's the most important. We're past the time in the league where you could sign guys because they're a great rebounder. You sign guys because they're a great passer. You got to be able to do everything in today's NBA. You need versatility, especially on contending rosters. I'm not keeping a guy who is a great playmaker but can't score consistently. And I'm not saying you got to average 15 points, but be a threat. Like, that's what you're asking of Killian, because the assist numbers, they're great. They are. But at the end of the day, you need somebody that can be a liable, I don't even want to say a spark off your bench, because you can find that, with veterans and stuff, but still somebody that can play a role but still be a threat. Because like I said before, you can go find somebody that can be semi-comparable in his playmaking ability, but be a much better scorer. Like somebody that's
some other aspects to the game.
Yeah, that's the thing with Killian too, is if you want to get paid in this league, you got to be able to score consistent. You can't give me 6 points, and I'm talking as a career, like 6.6 assists and a steal. Like, it's great. There'll be a team that might even carve out a role, but I'll tell you what, it ain't a contending team. There's not a team that's going to let you play consistently, being a liability on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I don't think he will. But would you be utterly shocked if the Pistons said, you know what, instead of putting a third year on there and going with a total value of 24-25, would you be shocked if they went 2 for 10?
No, I wouldn't.
I was thinking about that.
I wouldn't even be mad if you threw like a team option in there.
Yeah, like a 2 for 10 team option on that.
Like, just like let them play, and if you don't like them, just don't accept the next year. Let them walk. So Killian has to understand, and I'm sure he does. This is the NBA. Like, there's no guarantees at all. If you can't play, you can't play. And I talked about this on our pod a couple weeks ago. It's like there comes a point with Killian where we have to stop saying, well, I like what I've been seeing over the last 5 games. It's like, is this guy a part of your future or not? That's coming up quickly, because if he's not, you better make a decision quicker than not. So especially if you draft Scoot, things get complicated.
And in this system, we know that veteran players aren't necessarily older players. They told Hamidou Diallo at the beginning of this season, bro, you need to start prepping and playing a role of being a veteran. And he even talked about it in the press conferences. Remember, on media days, saying things like they told me my role this year is to be a vet. I thought I was still a young guy in the league. What is he, like 26 at that time? I think when he said this, turned 27. And you look at Killian Hayes, who now is going to be the longest tenured Detroit Pistons. So if he's to come back, bro, there's something a little bit more you're going to have to bring to the table. You're not the baby. You're not the kid. You're the person who was supposed to have, whether you're the star player or not, a handle on this team. Like an Andre Iguodala throughout his career. Whether he was a star or not with Philly, people knew he has a handle on this squad. I mean, he was an absolute monster. But it was like, I wanted to see that out of Killian.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning of the year, when we talked about his comments, that was one of the things you honed in on. He was like, Killian wants to be a leader? I want to see what that's going to look like, and I don't know. It's just kind of been down the middle. Just kind of, I can see him being a backup. Yeah, I can kind of this. And it's a little disappointing for the 7th pick. And it's a little disappointing for the faith that's being put in. But the reason why I hedged my bet, and I'm not as probably angry about it as some people have been about the missed pick and Tyrese Halliburton, is because Troy Weaver, like we keep talking about, hasn't waited around. He hasn't just said, well, I got this pick. we're gonna wait until he turns out. He went and got Cade, went and got Ivy, went and got Burks.
And just speak on Killian real quick in his future in the league, he can carve out a role. Like you see guys like Ricky Rubio or Alex Caruso. Like he was starting a lot of games for Chicago. Like Lakers loved him. But what did Alex Caruso did? Was he as good of a playmaker as Killian? No. Was he as good of a defender? Maybe comparable. But guess what he brought every night? You knew he was going to play his heart out, and he can at least be a semi-threat scoring the basketball.
And that's why his defense
shooting the basketball. Yes.
Killian Hayes is a better, just straight up, when I'm in your jersey, Killian Hayes. If you're telling me who do you want when they're on, I want Killian Hayes on my own ball defender, as my own ball defender. But Caruso does something he does something that I just don't see Killian Hayes do, man. You stated it. It's that consistency that he brings, that fire, man. He just continues to go every play as if it could be his last one. And I guess that's what we're not seeing. And Rod might have been touching on it before, too, when he said the overseas game, it's a little bit different. Coach Case, he talked about he need to learn pick-up ball. He need to learn American ball.
A little more finesse.
That's it. That's it. It's like maybe that's part of the issue in that they're trying to figure out how long and how expensive is it going to be to help him figure this out, because it's clear to see when he gets kind of over some of these mental hurdles, he could be a heck of a player. And as a player, they had to wait along 6-7 years to figure those things out in Chauncey Billups. I'm not saying he's going to be Chauncey Billups. I'm hoping that Killian Hayes at this stage in his career can carve out something similar to a Ricky Rubio, and that's being really playing within yourself, being good at what you're at, but being consistent at that, man.
Yeah, like even guys, I mean, if you know, like Killian showed us flashes, but over the last 3 years, it's been a lot of the same narrative. Like he hasn't been, he wasn't the most available his first year. I'll give you that. He had the hip injury, but still, like there hasn't been much. Like you've seen him be a little more aggressive. That's why to me, it's always been mentally. Like we talk about, it was never you questioning his skill set. Just like something's missing mentally. Like it's either he's too hard on himself, he plays with too much pressure on himself. Something's wrong, and I don't know what it is. But there's going to be a point where it's not your problem anymore. Like you can't sit here and try and figure out Killian like he's a puzzle. If he can't put it together, he's going to have to put it together elsewhere. And all you can do as a team is give him the runway. Like Boston didn't give Chauncey a runway. They got rid of him pretty quickly. Like we're giving Killian 3, if he's here next year, 4 years.
And Chauncey was proving that he could lead a team. He was I could be the starter.
Absolutely.
He was out there.
Like Killian, we're trying to figure out, is he even a backup? Like what is his role in the league?
Yeah, Chauncey was aggressive. Chauncey was to the rack. Yeah.
So again, for Killian, it's about just carving out a role in this league. And he could do it. He's got the skill set. He's got to be able to put it together on a consistent basis. He has to.
Yep. And it's the economics of it all. If we had the ability to just kind of wait around forever, then sure, yeah. But the economics of it all, and like we stated at the beginning of this year, 2 things. There were decisions that had to be made, and that we could not keep everybody. Yeah. So it's going to be an interesting thing. I don't believe that the players we have now, if they're gone, some of our core guys, we're beyond the place of if they're gone, it's because they didn't pan out or because they sucked. We're at that stage where now, if they're gone, it's because of the overabundance or the abundance of talent that Troy is choosing to bring in and undercutting his own draft picks. And if you're a GM that's like that, I'm willing with you. I'm willing to allow you, okay with you, like I can allow Troy Weaver. But I'm okay with him taking chances or having a pick like a Killian that we might say, all right, that's a miss. It's not a bust, but it's a miss pick.
Right.
I'm okay with it if you're telling me that this GM is going to make sure that everything's cleaned up on the backside. But I wanted to talk about beef stew. But do you have anything else on Bags or Killian?
Also,
yeah, with beef stew, because he's the other guy, man, that we're talking about decisions that have to be made. What are we making out of Stu? I agree with the statement that you stated earlier, and I think it's what makes him extremely valuable, that he can play with any big that you put out there.
Mm-hmm.
I think that makes you in this NBA very valuable, especially when you are the best try-hard guy on the squad, when you are the enforcer on the squad. And I think a lot of times it's easy to miss that stuff. But we've lost an edge. The games he's not playing in, there's a certain edge I'm looking like, whether it's wins or losses, there's just a certain edge that's just not there, a certain energy that I miss seeing bouncing around in that paint. With Beef Stew, I know that we have a lot easier time with Killian Hayes saying the economics of it all. Rod stated with Stu, no question, 15 million easy. Easy. He said, bro, I'd go above that. He thinks it may take a little bit more to retain him. Grant Williams is asking for $20 million. What are you feeling about Stu? Is there a comfortable place for you, or are you like, you know what? If the market dictates, he's the guy we need on the roster.
You just get the deal done. Like I love Isaiah Stewart, man. Yeah. And the reason I agree with Rod, and the reason for that is the point I mentioned earlier, which he can play with any big you have, in his ability to respond or like to adjust on the fly and do it at a pretty good level. Like this year, all right, Isaiah Stewart, here's Duren, Bagley. We need you to play the 4. Okay. Shoots 34% from 3. Like the guy in his first, and again, that's the most impressive thing about Stu is there's still a lot of untapped potential there. I mean, I see him as a future 4, maybe a small ball 5 in this league, but still there's a lot Stu can still add. And if you're a player like Stu and you affect the mentality of the entire team when you're on the court and off the court, like not only what he brings on the court, but off the court, it's so valuable. Like Isaiah Stewart, me and Sean talk about this a lot, and me and you have talked about this also. Like just his value on this team, I think it's a lot higher than people maybe think it is. Like his importance. So yeah. I'm all for Stu retaining. I mean, the teammates love him, coaches love him, players love him, front office love. Everybody loves Isaiah Stewart.
Respect him and fear him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Other people like,
and if you try and kick LeBron's ass, like listen, I love LeBron, but if you try and chase LeBron, you're on my team.
Body slamming,
oh, you're here.
All of that, like
coming after Blake. Yeah, come on, you're here, Isaiah Stewart. Get that deal done.
Yeah, I like that. I like them because remember the way the year started, and I think some people took it the wrong way. I said I don't know if he's your long-term starting 4,
and he might not be.
I believe that this man needed to always be on this roster because of the type of character he brings. I think he brings, if you're talking about restoration, there's nobody on the roster who brings something as closely relatable to the Bad Boys or to the Going to Work Pistons as it relates to attitude as Beef Stew.
Yeah.
Is there anybody on this roster you think brings a Rick Mahorn of it all, a Bill Lambert of it all? Anybody on this roster?
I think it could be Duren.
Eventually,
what? Not now because he's 19, but I think it could. But you're right, Stewart's he's the shit stirrer. Which I love. I mean, you need a guy like that, dude. But he's not confrontational, which I love. He's just kind of like, if it's there, like if the beef's there, I'm gonna take a bite. Like if you got beat on if you got beef on the plate, I'm gonna take a bite, but I'm not gonna instigate it, which I like. And that's what you need, man.
That's it, yeah. And I knew that was an easy one. That's why I was like, you know what, let's save this for the last. I know we haven't even really got the opportunity to talk about these deals or Stu or anything of that nature, but I knew that was the one that, as it relates to everything he's proven this year, as it relates to wanting to putting out the gauntlet of, I want to play like Al Horford. He hit those marks, man.
And he can
hit those metrics like he really did. I think he has a little bit to go as it relates to rim protection, but I think that's more or less technique. I think that's more or less how many opportunities and chances he has to play there.
Right.
The team had him kind of playing all over, and I wanted to be fair to that with his rim protection numbers and such, and with his blocks. He's playing all over the court. So that's not really going to give him an opportunity to say, you know what, I missed the block this time.
Yeah.
But I know next time I can get it. Next time he might be out on the perimeter.
He's getting brought out. Yeah. It's hard for him to, like he averaged more blocks when he was in the paint. So he can do it, but his roles change.
He's playing that 4.
Right. So, but again, to have a guy like that who's 6'8", can guard multiple positions, like you saw him on the perimeter get better defensively. Yeah.
Yep. Give me that.
Isaiah Stewart, that build, like that prototype, 6'8", can shoot, versatile, strong. Like he can make a role on any team in the NBA.
Yep.
Any team.
Does that make him even like one of your most valuable trade asset though?
Could be. Now
you haven't asked me. I wouldn't do that.
You didn't ask me about that, but if we're talking real talk, if there's an all-star available, if I'm an opposing team, I'm looking at guys. Now, obviously, it's gonna take more than Isaiah Stewart, but he's a starting piece.
If I'm an opposing team, a good team, I can sell him on a bench. If Detroit is trying to sell him at all on the bench role, if Detroit went, you know what, we like what Wiseman and Duren look like at all. If they actually work together, then they would sell him on a bench role. I could say a good team say, hey, you know what, Stu, we got you over here. We got you. You're going to win. You're going to get your 25, 30 minutes per game, and we can put you in a position to where all of it is not on you.
Right.
And we can set you next to another rim protector or whatever, because I believe Duren and Wiseman provide some good strengths. I don't think Wiseman as good as Duren yet, but he hasn't had the opportunities. I think you got to play get your basketball legs underneath you, get your your instinct back, and then we can start to judge. But yeah, Stu, I want him on this team as much as I can, unless it's something that you just can't turn down. But I do. When I look at this team's assets of actual people you would give up or trade or anything of that nature, I feel like Stu is the number one player. I'm not touching Cade, Duren, Ivy at all. The next player on there for me, I know Bojan's there, but in terms of the young guys,
right?
Stu, man, he's
and it's not just the young guys; it's young guys that other teams would want. Like Killian Hayes, nobody's gonna call up and be like, "Hey,
I need to have
let me get Killian. Right, I need to have him." It's Isaiah Stewart. Like that's a guy that teams would like to have. And if Isaiah Livers can continue to improve, I think he'd be another one. Just right now, he's not at the point. I think he there's another level Isaiah can take it because he's too good of a defender. He's too good of a shooter. He's just inconsistent. But if he's more consistent and he's playing significant minutes,
Isaiah Livers,
he could be another one.
Yep.
That's what the league needs now. 3-and-D wings. If you could shoot and defend, you're going to get paid in this league. I.e. Miles Bridges, i.e. Cam Johnson, like Grant Williams, who wants $20 million a year,
right?
For averaging 5 points.
What do you think about that? I told Rod about that, and he was like, "What?"
It's a lot. I can't lie, but I love Grant Williams. I love him. I love what he can do. I mean, he's one of the best shooters in the corner. I think his catch and three shooting percentage is like insane. I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but guy is just knocked down, can defend. I mean, again, like I said, 3-and-D wings, but $20 million. Come on, bro. Cam Johnson was, well, it's what, 18, 19, and he got 50 before. At least Cam, he got 50. At least he got 50. I mean, Grant Williams, I don't mind him, but at $20 million, that is tough.
He did turn on the $50 million extension, so we'll see. Man. It's gonna be interesting.
He's gonna get a piece of humble pie this offseason for sure.
It's gonna be interesting, bro. But anything else?
No, man, I got it all out today. Yeah. Thank you guys for listening to me rant. I was going off.
I love it. I love it all. It's great. I mean, it shows not just the passion, but you're well thought out with this. You know, the Bagley stuff, especially when we talk about Killian Hayes. I think it's important that we can get all of our feelings out about Killian because sometimes it gets missed. You know, we defend the fact that we can see he's the best. He's an NBA player. He's a good NBA backup. But there are some nuances here that make us go, hold up just a little bit. Even if you can pay him a $7.5 or $8 million, which would be great value for Killian, is there somebody more consistent that you can get for the same money?
Right. Once you get paid, I expect last night's Killian more often than not. Like that's what we're doing here.
Yep. And
like Tyus Jones, another great backup.
Yep.
Like he's a dog.
Yep.
Carved out a role in this league for himself.
I like Tyus Jones.
Great player.
And with Killian, it's like I want to be fair. He's made incremental steps forward every year, but the economics of it all. We'll see if he's done enough to warrant another contract or who is going to be in the musical chairs of getting thrown into some type of trade deal or draft deal.
Yep.
You know, because that's going to be interesting. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to start the refrain. I am not going to be surprised if Troy winds up with 2 first-round picks in this coming draft. I'm not. A strong draft, too.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be surprised at it.
Strong draft.
Oh, you know what? Tell the people. Brandon Miller, is that your pick? The Pistons,
Yeah, I've been harping on Brandon Miller even before all this stuff. I mean, I know the allegations. Back in early December, I was like, "Oh, Brandon Miller? Okay. Love this kid.
Consistent.
Love what he can do. The size, the shooting. We just brought up 3-and-D wings. There you go. Brandon Miller. And there's a lot more upside there to actually create his own shot. So I like it. Brandon Miller is my guy. Now, if you want to have a debate over me at 2 over Scoot, we can have a debate, but I won't be mad either way. But no question at 3. If you're picking 3, it's Brandon Miller, hands down. Send in the pick. Send in the pick before the draft even starts. Just be like, hey, man, by the way, we're going to pick Brandon Miller. You just submit it. Just tell us.
I think the only other player that definitely catches my attention for some whatever weird reason is just Asar Thompson. But
yeah, the Thompson twins they're studs too.
Yeah, but Scoot at 2, this is my last thing on at least like some of these draft prospects. And we're going to start getting into that, man. Draft prospect coverage series is coming back.
Yeah, Brandon Miller would be a seamless fit, dude. You just put him right in you can put him in the starting lineup right now, and they'll be fine.
Yeah.
Just drop him right in there.
I love him. I like what Brandon Miller brings to the game. Since you've been really talking about him, just kind of focusing and looking at what he does, I'm like, yeah. With Scoot, I know a lot of people are like, we got too many guards here. We got Cade, we got Ivy. Man, bro, if we drafted Scoot, give him 30 minutes a night, 35 minutes a night off the bench, I do not care. get that 3-guard rotation going, and let those guys mash and go to work.
But absolutely, baby.
I would love it, man. Push Killian into that 4th role.
Oh, yeah.
That 4th guard. That'd be a new Kojo. Killian.
Kojo, listen, Corey Joseph, one of the nicest guys ever. Yeah, no, I can't. Can't see Kojo no more. I'm sorry. I can't, dude.
Not even with this resurgence over the last 3 games?
No. If anything, it's hurt us because we won games. So, or we won a game.
Yeah, hey, broke the 11-game losing streak over the Pacers, 117-97, and then lost like 117-97 like the very next game. Yo, that's our Pistons this year. That's our Pistons. But, bro,
loud and proud.
Let's get out of here.
Yes, sir.
That's everything over here. Jeff Iafrate of the Morning Woodward Show from half court of Woodward Pistons and doing a whole bunch of other things as well. My name is Brandon Dent, a.k.a. Detroit Kool-Aid. And you know what? We'll do one drum roll for the legend. Hey, yo, shout out to the legend Detroit News, Rod Beard, man. Hey, look, till next time, you all. And let us know what y'all would do. Yeah. What decisions are you making? Killian Hayes, Isaiah Stewart, Marvin Bagley. Hey, let us know. Anybody else?
No, you hit on all of them.
Yes, sir. All right, y'all. Hey, let us know who's your draft prospect as well at number 3. Is it Brandon Miller? Y'all agree with this guy right here? I actually do.